Hey everyone, it's Nick and Ron with another edition of Ask Ron. How you doing today, Ron?
I'm good, man.
All right, I got a few questions here for you from this week. First one is from Gary in Utah.
All right.
Gary says, do you have an updated, not that it's really needed, video of Ron explaining terms to sellers on MP4 or video?
No, I don't think I've ever created one. I have a video on YouTube where I sat in the house and talked to the seller and got a contract on a terms deal. I don't know how to get to it, but I'm sure it won't be that hard to find.
Yeah, I think maybe he said I know we do have a video where we did an ad. I think it was like maybe for Facebook or something like that. So we have one of those. So I'll try to find that and I'll put it below here, and that kind of explains the process to seller.
We teach that in class because we've got scripts, and believe me, it's all I do is use the scripts and then, chat about what they want to chat about while we're doing it. There's only a few things I need to know from them.
All right, and then he goes on to ask, do you have a way to attach that Ron explaining terms to sellers video to a follow-up text?
I don't really want you to be giving a video to the seller to explain the terms or not. That would, in my opinion, would degrade your credibility. It's nothing more than getting the scripts and practicing the scripts and doing it your own way in your own mannerisms. So I think you're concerned about you don't know what to say. That's what we have scripts for.
All right, next question is from Tim in Illinois. Tim says, for pretty houses, how do you counter an offer that your seller gets that either pays $60,000 over ARV or a lot of money as a down payment?
You don't counter it, you move on.
These have become constant obstacles when I finally get a seller to agree to sell on terms. And continuing to try to getting.
Then you haven't learned how to handle the script yet in the closing call, because you'll know that very quickly into the call. Therefore, you won't even need to go to the house. And I'm telling you, that's the majority, not the minority. It's always been that way, always. So you've got to generate the leads and then get your VA to fill out the property information sheet, and then get on the phone and make a 2 or 3 minute call, and you're done. Or you get somebody else to do that for you. But it all comes back to scripts.
All right. Question from Tony and Angie in Ohio. Ron, I hope that you had a Merry Christmas. When it comes to older houses, where can be more of a propensity for costly repairs that the tenant buyer cannot afford? Is there anything that you do special to protect yourself in a terms deal other than maintaining a higher reserve from the non-refundable option deposit?
Well, all right. I own the house. I put a lease option tenant buyer in it. Something major has to be fixed and they can't fix it. Well, you've really got no choice but to fix it if it's going to be dangerous, not fixed. And of course, I'm going to tell them if I have to pay the money, put the money up, I'm going to have to add 125% of that amount to your purchase price, and let them make the decision. But you got to fix it. I mean, let's say the roof is leaking. You can't just ignore it, or you're going to have a much bigger repair. Let's say it's an electric issue. That's a good way to get the house burned down. So these things do happen, but when you're in the pretty houses and you're dealing with decent houses in decent neighborhoods, it's probably never something you're going to have to even think about. You're dealing in junker and low income areas, you very well will have to think about it, because if something goes wrong, they will not be able to afford it. So junkers are for all cash, and rehabs, nicer houses, are for terms.
Would you recommend setting a certain amount aside or a certain percentage of that non-refundable option deposit?
Minimum of 10% and as much as 20%. Set it aside. Escrow account. I suggest you even have escrow account printed right on the checks. Separate account, not mingle it with other money, till you get to the point where you know you have enough to cover anything that you're ever going to need to cover.
All right. And then Tony and Angie also say, by the way, Happy New Year. It's going to be a great year.
So. You too, guys.
All right. Next question is from Keith in Idaho. Is there training on how to fill the property lead sheet using a VA?
If I'm using a VA, they're filling the property lead sheet. What am I missing?
Yeah, I think that would be it. Just let the VA do it. The VAs are already, unless you're talking about maybe training to provide to a VA that you're hiring yourself.
Don't do that.
They just follow the script, right?
Don't do that. That's just another lesson you're going to have to learn. Look, we have VAs that are hired because they can pick up the phone and call the seller. Most people can't do that or won't do that. All right. Why we have them. Don't try. You're not going to save any money on a VA. You're going to lose a lot of money on deals that you lose. So just get a hold of our VAs. Where do they go to get a VA? Dreamspro.ai.
Yep, dreamspro.ai.
All
They'll get a subscription to Dreams, to Gold Club, and they'll get access to a VA.
By the way, if you're on our new Dream system right now, our VAs will not only call the leads for you, but they'll generate the list for you from the Dream system and call them for you, and then get the sheets filled out and then put them up on the site for you to see or send them to you, whatever. Look, you don't have to hardly do anything today. We're getting closer to where you don't have to do anything. Now, somebody's still got to go out the house and get the contract, maybe, but what about sending them virtually? Today, you're in a virtual world. You don't even go to the house to get the contract. The questions that you all are asking are questions that are all part of your basic training at the Quick Start School. And you need to get that done and clear up all these questions, and you'll see how to automate everything as well as we do. You're going to like the business, but you're not going to like it if you've always got these vacancies in your head. You can't figure out how to do the little things that need to be done. That's what training is for.
All right. Our final question is from Ken in Georgia, and it's about trusts.
Trust.
I am setting up a living trust. I have my personal residence and 2 rental houses that are owned in my name and wife's name, and all have mortgages still. I would like to place in land trust to get the anonymity. I then need to deed these properties into the trust.
No, you don't. No, you don't. First of all, buying them in a land trust is correct, but you don't deed them to a trust. Your home is different now. The home, you can be the beneficial interest of the land trust. But all those other properties, you really should have an LLC be the beneficiary. And the LLC gets all the money, spends all the money, and so forth. You got one tax return, one LLC, because trusts don't have tax returns. Land trusts don't anyway. And also, if all of your business is running through the LLC, then nothing's going to show in your personal tax return except the profit or loss from that LLC. They won't even know you own property in your personal tax return. So, and don't you ever put on public record the actual living trust or your IRA, either one. Because if you're titled in your living trust and something major happens on that house, everything that's in your living trust is at risk. And from what I know about living trust, they really don't even kick in until you're dead. So better get some more advice from a good estate planning attorney before you just make a mess that they got to go clean up, or you get sued and then you got a bigger mess that you got to go fix.
Okay. So you recommend them place them in the land trust or deeding the property to the land trust.
Actually,
with the LLC.
There is a lesson on this on your Gold Club site. It's called 4 LLCs. Go look it up and watch it before you do anything.
All right. All right. So just to recap, we deed the properties into the land trust,
Yep.
not the living trust.
Yep.
And the beneficial interest of that land trust should be an LLC.
Yes.
Now it's currently owned by them husband and wife. So deeding it to a trust and having the LLC as beneficiary, will that create a taxable event?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Put your house into a land trust for estate planning purposes anytime you want. It has nothing to do with income taxes.
Okay. All right. All right. So the answer is to leave them outside the living trust, to remain in the land trust, but an LLC be the beneficial interest. That's it for this week.
Yes. And then you and your wife can be the owner of the LLC, preferably tenants by the entirety, if you're in a state that honors tenants by the entirety. And if you don't know that, then you can go on Google and say, well, what states honor tenants by the entirety? And here comes the list.
There we go. Well, that's it for this week, Ron.
All right. See y'all next week.